What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisor.com, bringing home the bacon, NFL betting video or DFS, whichever you are playing. Week 18 is here. I cannot believe Week 18 is already here, but there are certain teams that are already out of it. There are certain players that may sit, but there are certain players that have incentives, and we've done this every single year for the past handful of years. We are going to talk about Week 18 incentivized players, what they need, and what kind of bets or DFS options you can use with them. So we are going to look at a handful of players here that are playing for more than just the love of the game. So we're going to start with quarterbacks. So we're going to look at Geno Smith. Geno Smith needs only 186 passing yards to cash in on a $2 million bonus. 186 yards should not be a problem. He gets a Rams secondary that ranks 22nd out of 32. He had 363 passing yards against the same exact team in Week 9. And he also earns a $2 million bonus on top of that if Seattle wins and gets 10 wins on the season. I think they're going to go all out on this one. The lines are not out yet on what to take, but if you want to look at 186 yards, if you want to take Geno at 200-plus passing yards in Week 18, I am completely for that. So he is playing for that right there. Now, if you want to use that as a stack for DFS and you want to go with JSN, you want to go with other players for that, that is completely fine. But we are focusing on betting and just getting you the statistics that we possibly can. So if we look at Geno right here on DraftKings, you look at game logs. He is coming off a bad game against Chicago, 160 yards. Whether or not he wasn't playing for something or whatever you want to call it, bad game. He now gets this matchup that I love. All we need, 186 passing yards. Should easily be able to get that. Had that against Minnesota. Did not have that against Green Bay. Had it against Arizona, the Jets. Arizona again. San Francisco, the Rams, which he absolutely torched. So I am absolutely loving this one. A second quarterback that I think we need to look at, and the savior of a ton of us in Week 17, maybe even won your championship, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield has been playing lights out this year. So we look at this. He needs to finish in the top 10 of all quarterbacks this year to earn $500,000 bonus. He is currently ranked 7th overall entering Week 18. Now, on top of that, he gets a Saints secondary that ranks 25th against the quarterback. And you can find all of this usually by Wednesdays under the NFL tab and the matchup tool, and it'll show you all these stats and what they've given up. But Baker threw for 325 yards against New Orleans in Week 6 of this year. So if we look at Mayfield, he needs to just continue the torrid pace that he's on. Absolutely torched for 37.56, had 359 yards, had 303, 288, 295, 235. If he could stay right around the 300 mark, should be good to go. I don't foresee the other guys below him surpassing him in this one. So take Baker Mayfield. Whether or not you want to look at Baker Mayfield, 300-plus yards, 250 yards, whatever the bet it is you want to make, Baker Mayfield is playing for something. These Tampa Bay Bucs are playing for something. And speaking of that, we will put that right into Mike Evans. So Mike Evans, same team. He's going to be a stack for me with Baker in DFS, but in sports betting. All he needs in Week 18, 5 more catches and 85 yards. If he hits both of those, he gets a $3 million bonus. Now, if you remember back when Gronk needed it and Brady said, I got you, Baker Mayfield is that dude. I completely see. So I see that Mike Evans, and we can look at this. He needs 5 catches for 85 yards. You look at the game logs. 8 receptions, 5, 9, 4, 8. 1, 2, 5. He's going up against this matchup here with New Orleans. Now, his last game against New Orleans, he had 6 targets, only had 2 receptions for 34 yards, did not do much. He will get his 5 receptions. I completely think he'll get 100-plus yards in this game. He had 97 last week, 69 the week before, 159 the week before. He will be fed in this lineup. I love Mike Evans. If you want to take Mike Evans 90-plus yards, I'm okay with that as well. If you want to stack him in DFS, I am completely okay with that as well, because we had him with Mayfield and McMillan stacked in a lineup, and Payne Durham in that lineup, and it absolutely murdered. We cashed every lineup that we had Baker Mayfield on, absolutely cashed. I absolutely love this line for him as well. Another wide receiver that we want to take a look at, Courtland Sutton. So whether you're not you're sports betting, whether or not you're doing DFS, it's been pretty consistent. But Sutton needs 82 receiving yards to hit $500,000 bonus. Now, it's true he has not hit this in his last 3 games. I get that. And he's only hit it in 4 games this season. So if you are one to parlay all these bets, this one might not be a bet that I parlay. But if you do a single bet, they could feed him here as well. Now, it seems that the Chiefs are going to be resting some of their key players on offense and defense in Week 18. Whether or not Courtland Sutton is able to take advantage of that secondary, they are a very good defense. But if they are resting some of their players, we got second and third string guys out there. Courtland Sutton for 82 yards or 90 yards, or take him for 80-plus yards, I am okay with this one as well. So those are 2 quarterbacks that I like. Those are 2 wide receivers that I like as well. Look at a running back, a couple of them. Tony Pollard. Now, he's dealing with the flu. He's dealing with the ankle issue. Has he missed the last 2 games? I think he has. Let's see. He played Week 16. Only 35 yards in that game. But here's what he needs in Week 18. 83 rushing yards for $250,000 bonus. And 2 touchdowns for another $250,000. Now, if we look at this, he has 5 touchdowns on the year, so he's not very touchdown. He doesn't get a ton of them. But looking at an 80-plus rushing yard day, he's had those games against Jacksonville, against Houston, against this team that he is facing. In Week 12, 24 attempts, 119 yards, 1 touchdown as well. It doesn't need to be a rushing touchdown. It can be a rushing and a receiving touchdown. So Tony Pollard, this could be one as well. So these are lines that when they open up, I want you guys to take advantage of them, and I want you to smash these betting lines early. And if you do not have a betting account already, whether or not it's DraftKings or FanDuel, we have the link down below in this video. If you sign up with our link and you show us proof you've signed up with our link, we are going to give you 1 month free of FTA Plus on top of this knowledge that we are giving you here as well. So hopefully you guys are taking advantage of everything we have. Another running back that I want to look at, J.K. Dobbins. We didn't expect him to be back last week. He kind of came out of nowhere. He was a cheaper option. He had 76 yards in his return on 19 attempts. He was gone for 5 weeks. He had a touchdown in there. He is involved in the passing game as well. Here's what he needs. Obviously missed a ton of this year, but he needs 58 rushing yards for a $150,000 bonus. Now, he's hit that obviously in Week 17 with 76 yards there. He's hit this number 5 times this year. He will also face the Raiders, who rank 28th in tackling against the running back position too. Not the best defense, very good defense to run against. I love this one with J.K. Dobbins. We need rushing here. We do not need passes, but we have been pretty good with him when the line comes out. He did face this Raiders team Week 1. In that week, he only rushed 10 times. But against the Raiders, he had 135 yards in 10 rushes, which is insane. Great matchup for him. A lot of people are banged up. He is back. Should be good to go. Obviously missed some weeks. I really like this matchup for J.K. Dobbins. Another wide receiver to look at. Not a ton to love about this offense overall. The Giants, they really screwed themselves in getting a quarterback in the draft. But with that win last week. Malik Neighbors needs 2 catches to break the rookie wide receiver record, and he's 4 catches behind Brock Bowers for the overall rookie reception. He is averaging 7.5 catches per game, and if you got to think about this, they're aware they're a very bad team. They're very terrible, but they're also aware of these different nuances and different stats and what it needs to be taken. I fully expect them to take Malik Neighbors to the next level. I think he's averaging 7.5 catches per game. If he could get 5, 10 targets, he could easily get this. Now, facing the Eagles defense, that they might be resting some people as well, and then that brings down the secondary. When we've got it updated, check out our matchup tool. You can see how the Philly rank secondary or just their defense ranks against the wide receivers. That is one that I would look at there. Another one in the wide receiver range. Now, I don't know if he will play. DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, Kansas City's good. They're going to go to the playoffs. They want to rest everybody up. But Hop just needs one more touchdown to get a $500,000 bonus. He faces the Broncos secondary, who allowed 3 passing touchdowns last week. Now, whether or not we believe DeAndre Hopkins is one of the key players that will be rested, that is neither here nor there. We've got to wait to hear that news. But if he is in there and you want to take him for a touchdown, check it out. I think, and again, might not rest the entire game, might be rested for, you might start a little bit, kind of like what we see in the preseason. Could start a little bit, and then maybe they come out and be like, okay, it's done. Or, hey, Andy Reid's a guy's guy. So is Mahomes. So I fully expect them, if he does get a little bit of start, we could see a touchdown here. So wouldn't parlay this one, but if you do make different, side bets, or you just make single bets here, D-Hop for a touchdown, probably pretty good odds. You're probably going to get plus 200 out of here. It just depends on what we're looking at. So that is something that I want to look at here. Another one that's not as likely, Austin Eckler, he's on the IR. It says he's absolutely possible for Eckler to return from the IR before the season ends. Okay, say he comes back. And this one's off the wall. This is a little bit off the wall. But 145 rushing yards to get an $125,000 bonus. Now, it's very unlikely that he does come back, or that he does get this if he comes back. But he does get a matchup against the Cowboys, which rank 30th against the run. This one, the odds are going to be pretty damn big. Some books will have like 100 plus, some will have like 120. I don't know if this one will happen, but again, there are players that are playing for certain incentives. These are ones that you could look at. So whether or not you play them in sports betting or DFS, whether or not you take them in sports betting, whether or not you parlay them or do them in singles, I would absolutely love to know if you guys know of any other incentive bets that maybe we didn't cover. If there are any other bets that you are liking for Week 18, we will talk about that in other videos. Have a fantastic Week 18. We'll have other videos out for you, so make sure you check everything else out. Good luck this week, whether or not you're playing DFS, sports betting, NBA, NFL, whatever. Let's bring home some bacon. Peace.